it's going to be instant love. Come here, bring it in.
Girl in the blue shirt.
Yes.
I'm sober and semi-employed,
Uh-huh.
and you looked adorable, so I had to
Thanks.
run over, say hi, and recruit you for a revolution.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad information about how to pick up on women, and some of it is outright ridiculous. It'll leave you dateless and sexless. It just doesn't take special training to get an unattractive drunk girl to sleep with you when the bar closes or to match with you on Tinder. A lot of that pickup artist stuff just isn't for you. I mean, you're busy, you're making things happen, or at least you should be. You don't have time to go to bars 4 nights a week or walk the streets for hours at a time just to get some girl to talk to you. And some of you spend an atrocious amount of time on dating apps with abysmal results. My course, Pickup Skills for the Busy Man, is going to solve these problems for you. Learn how to effortlessly get women to fall into immediate rapport and attraction for you as you go about your daily activities, building life and being on your purpose. You'll learn everything you need to know about approaching women, talking to women, texting or messaging women, and getting women out with you so that they get interested in you, attracted to you, and eventually fall for you. To work via Zoom call and get you out there and get you with better women in your life. Damn it. All right, we're going to start that over again. That sucked. My audio was shit. That's all right. We're going to get some audio going. So we're going to do that all over. It's 2 minutes. You guys are going to fucking love it and jerk off to it. All right, here we go.
Sorry, mate. I know it's quite early, but I think I'm in love with you.
And it's going to be instant love. Come here, bring it in.
Girl in the blue shirt.
Yes.
I'm sober and semi-employed, and you looked adorable, so I had to run over, say hi, and recruit you for a revolution.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad information about how to pick up on women, and some of it is outright ridiculous. It'll leave you dateless and sexless. And the fact is, it just doesn't take special training to get an unattractive drunk girl to sleep with you when the bar closes or to match with you on Tinder. A lot of that pickup artist stuff just isn't for you. I mean, you're busy, you're making things happen, or at least you should be. You don't have time to go to bars 4 nights a week or walk the streets for hours at a time just to get some girl to talk to you. And some of you spend an atrocious amount of time on dating apps with abysmal results. My course, Pickup Skills for the Busy Man, is going to solve these problems for you. Learn how to effortlessly get women to fall into immediate rapport and attraction for you as you go about your daily activities, building life and being on your purpose. You'll learn everything you need to know about approaching women, talking to women, texting or messaging women, and getting women out with you so that they get interested in you, attracted to you, and eventually fall for you. To work with you one-on-one via Zoom call and get you out there and get you with better women in your life, or to have better interactions with women you are already dating. Click the link in the description and get on my email list. Early enrollment with special offer will be announced just for the list, and open enrollment to the public will begin August 8th. There are limited spaces, so click in the link below, get on the list so you don't miss the invite. Let's finally take your game to that next level. All right, we got it to work. Thank you for putting up with that. It's StreamYard. I have all this cool equipment. I only know how to use it at maybe 15% of its capacity. That's okay. Well, I'm going to be learning the rest as much as I can here. Got a couple good people that work with me that'll help me out. But now that was a StreamYard thing. It was knowing what things to press. They had the audio down on the clip and everything, but we're good. We made it happen. So you saw it. Get on my email list. I got a couple things, in fact. How to cheat proof your relationship. It's a really solid document that's coming out in a number of parts. That'll be an article for you if you sign up for the email list. My assistant should be uploading her. It should be active now. If it's not, it'll be active by tomorrow. If you get on the list today, you'll get it tomorrow when it comes out. If you're new to the list and you're watching this video a month from now or something, you'll still get, starting at part 1, that document releasing, in the several parts. And it's really solid. A lot of guys from the mastermind group enjoyed that material. I thought I would just share it for you guys. It's all free. It's just in the email list. But what happens with that list too is that you'll get the offer with a special offer before August 8th. And I'm going to have to cap numbers on the pickup for the Busy Man course. So if you want to get all of your pickup stuff figured out without having to become like a pickup artist type of a person or do any of that kind of stuff. Nothing wrong with that, though. Those guys who do that stuff, I have friends who do it, who are good at it, but this is going to kind of help you with getting the girl, okay, and getting them on the dates and the texting and sourcing and all that initial stuff that's going to get you in front of a chick, okay? So you can move that along the attraction ladder, so to speak. That's what that course is all about, and it's going to be real solid. I'm super excited for it, and it'll be at a pretty reasonable price. I won't disclose that until August 8th when we drop it, but hang on to that. We'll be there. So we got questions. If you got questions, I do appreciate a super so that I can catch it. I'll answer as best as I can. It's a time limit thing too, but I'm going to start with actually a question that somebody had last week. Hopefully the dude who comes back, he supered me and it was like a big ass question. Like I already blew it and swore right in the beginning. So I guess we're just going to swear the rest of the time here, but it was a big ass question, that was going to take time to answer. So that's what this video is about. So sometimes you might ask me something and I'm like, ooh, that's a good topic. And it's going to be a lot to answer. And I don't have time to, in this particular stream to talk about it, or it's way off topic. But guess what? I end up doing it maybe down the line here. We see a super chat here. Glad I've got this. I'll learn what I could have done better. Yeah, dude. Absolutely, man. That's what I'm here for. We can after action review our past relationships so we can have better future ones with better fits for us. I'm trying to tailor my language a little bit. I say with better women, right? Okay. Well, sometimes, it's a better woman. Sometimes it's just a better fit. I don't want to crap all over your exes. Maybe the chick wasn't a bad chick, or maybe she was. I don't know. But it doesn't matter, does it? What matters is you're not with her anymore. And what matter is, so, okay, Lane, that I see the launch pad. I see your question too. I'll get to that. That's what we're going to talk about. That's what we're talking about right now. That's the whole topic for today, bro. So, or Lane, I think that's a bro anyway. No, that's a bro. Sorry. So yeah, man, we got this. We got this for you. Shoot, let me shut this down here so I don't get notifications. All right. But that's what we're going to be talking about all day today. Not all day, but until it streams over. And what's this one? All right. Although I like your, by the way, super's not me trying to take money from you. It's me trying to get picked up on YouTube's algorithms that hate me. I'm going to have a clips channel real soon, and then I'm going to have one. It looks like I'm going to be focused strictly on inner game. So I have 2 channels coming out that are going to be new. I'll announce those too, just because YouTube freaking hates this channel so much. So we'll put all the good shit here and I just won't care about it anymore. And then I'll use the other 2 to build up. The clips will be the shorter stuff, the more digestible 5-10 minute type, less than 10 minutes, usually around 5, kind of stuff. And then the inner game will be all on inner game and not just about necessarily women either, right? Just getting all that stuff. It's so much you can do with that. And that's what a lot of people come to me for. So we'll get it going. We'll get around this YouTube thing, maybe also get on some other platforms too. So anyways, question here. Do you agree that cohabitation is a bad idea unless you plan on getting engaged in the near future? That's a great question. And not necessarily. I go against the grain on this from what a lot of people, man, that's a really great question. I'm glad I caught it and hit it up actually. So that's probably a topic for a bigger video, but I'll give you the short answer. It's all about frame, dude. And that's what the mastermind group should be opening up again shortly. I got to get a hold of my course administrator and see when we can do that. But we're really focused more on the pickup course August 8th that'll be dropping. But But in the mastermind group, we're working on frame. Everything. I have this impeccable frame, not just internally, but externally in your life with your chick, how to lead, taking it from every facet of a relationship. And any guy, wherever he's at, whether he just broke up with somebody and needs to break free from that emotional attachment and then get into the dating market again within that year, right? Hopefully sooner than a year, right? That he gets back in the dating market. You want to take some time off, but not too much time. Or he's in a relationship already, wants to establish frame, reestablish some lost frame maybe, or even just go deeper and have better relationship quality of something that's already doing well. So there's a guys there. And then guys who don't have any kind of relationship at all. They're not, some guys who are dating, some guys are doing the whole spinning plate things, dating multiple women, some guys who are dating no women, right? They get involved too, because frame really is everything in every aspect of the relationship. And as long as you have that, you can cohabitate. You can, doesn't really matter. I don't care what phase you want. I don't recommend it early, but you can do it. Now, there's some guidelines to doing it correctly, though. You don't want to do it stupidly and then put yourself in a circumstance where you're tied to someone logistically and can't get out of it. That's a bad choice, right? And that's why marriage is dangerous, because not only are you tied to someone logistically in a marriage, but now the government is one regulating and dictating what that looks like. And you don't even have any control over it. And neither does she, in fact. And so there's situations, somebody who was very close to me mentioned the other day or a few days ago or something that, that she knows, dudes or chicks that are paying alimony now, right? Like that's a thing. Well, yeah, sure. Sure. That's a thing. Now that things are opening up a little more, guys are getting a little bit, depending on it's all county and state dependent, United States or country dependent. Guys are getting a little bit less unfairly disadvantaged in family court. Not always. Situations will vary. There are circumstances where it's becoming a little bit more fair. But when I say a little bit more fair, what that usually means is they're just being unfair to women now sometimes. like whenever you leave government in charge of something, there's always a consequence to that. And I'm not saying that government should never be in charge of anything, but there's just going to be consequences there. And it's just not good. Anytime you can be in control of it versus somebody else being in control of it, or in the case of a relationship, you and your partner being in control of it, the better. So any kind of cohabitation, you have to have agreements in place, and you have to have an adult conversation of what separation looks like in case of, okay? Not to point her towards the idea of you plan on separating, but it's actually to make for a more secure bond in the relationship. If everyone knows what the breakup looks like on a logistical level, then nobody feels like they're captured or trapped in a situation they can't get out of. That's really important. It's really important for your frame and holding that frame in the relationship, her attraction and desire. Okay. To know that you could leave or she could leave freely is an important thing. That doesn't mean you're going to do it, but that, and hopefully, if it's a serious relationship, like you want to build this life with this person, nobody just leaves, right, when it gets hard. Hopefully you work through the problems, all right? And, I've had friends and people that are pretty smart point out, well, marriage is good in a sense that marriage is good because people can't just give up and leave. They have to, if you have one foot out the door, then, you could just leave, walk out. Well, that's not good either. Well, and so the trick is balance, right? You have to have a relationship. If you decide to be a cohabitating situation, your situation should recommended be one where you don't plan on leaving that, right? You plan on sticking that out even when it gets hard. You plan on exhausting. You and her have to have the mindset of exhausting all options no matter what happens in that situation before just walking out of it. Okay. You want to have that, but the balance is you also have the freedom though to leave. Okay. And to leave without damaging yourself and damaging the other person necessarily. And that's where the breakup agreement has to be in place. Knowing that, okay, logistically we could walk out of here, but emotionally and mentally we're not just going to do that to ourselves and do that to each other. That's the framework you want. Guys will talk about dread and this and that. And like, well, if she gets too comfortable, it's like, well, that has to do with the standards and boundaries you're having in the relationship, and then the emotional exchange you have with this other person. Okay. You don't want a person stuck to you logistically. That will make them feel, that turns it into a transactional framework now, where they have to stay in or play the part, right? Just to get their transactional needs met. And for fear of losing, their children, the house, the things, the stuff, where am I going to live? What am I going to do? Like all that crap, that becomes the focus, not the bond that you two have and the bond that she should be fostering and surrendering to. She needs to surrender to the relationship, and she needs to submit to your frame as a man, and you to lead properly in a way that she feels taken care of. That's the dynamic. That's the secret. Don't listen to, gynocentric or feminist sort of driven ideology that wants to tell you different things, or talk about 50-50 and all this equal crap. There's nothing equal. All right. There's things she's going to do better than you, and there's things you'll do better than her. And there's a leader and there's a follower, and we're genetically wired for that man to be the leader. That is it. Soundbite that from my freaking Clips channel. Okay. Because that is exactly how it works. That's how it works. On a genetic evolutionary level. You can't socially engineer yourself out of that, out of your genetic evolutionary drives necessarily. You can point them in a direction that's maybe more productive than another direction, but you're not going to, socially condition out of it. So that's the secret. And in order to do, so that's the dynamic. That's the framework that has to be in play. Do not move in or bring in a girl that doesn't have that framework, that isn't open to having you lead and her submitting to you, and then surrendering. There's a difference between submission and surrendering. Okay. Because submission is situational and voluntary. If you break trust, she's going to stop submitting to you in the moment. All right. And then you're going to have to deal with conflict. So that's something that's there. But surrendering is to stop protecting yourself from harm, and to trust the outcomes, to trust that things will work out, and to just be in the relationship with you without trying to put up defenses, without trying to manipulate, without trying to attack, without trying to power struggle. That's what is required. I did a video on surrender. You guys can look that one up. If I get, I don't know how to do, I kind of can figure out how to do this stuff, but then it's like, how do people have time to do it this like efficiently? I don't even know. But I mean, at some point I'll get to a point where like the next video is my surrender video, and you can click on that and then you go there anyway. But that's when I get good at YouTube, right? YouTube is like my third or fourth priority in life. Well, I don't say in life, but with the business, right? My biggest priority is helping you guys, particularly in my programs or my consults, or people are meeting with me. And by the way, my programs and consults this summer have taken over almost everything. So I have very few seats. If somebody is in my DMs or in my phone asking about consults, I don't reply back. I apologize for that lack of response. It's just that I'm very backed up. You have to book a session or sign up for something. Just asking me about it in my Instagram is probably going to get me to not respond for a while. It's not personal, but I have so many things that some good things I'm putting out for you guys that I need you guys to, I want people to benefit from. And I got to put my focus there. I can't switch focus and be talking to as many DMs as I get and stuff. I can't talk to everybody. I'm sorry. All right. Just the way it is. But anyway, back to things. So yeah, cohabitation, you have to have frame. She has to be somebody you can surrender to the relationship. If she can do those things, and then you set up an agreement of what the cohabitation agreement looks like. All right. Get something in writing, is preferably get something in writing. Okay. And, or at least have things in writing. So for example, if she's moving in with you, then your name is on the lease. She's not. Do you know what I mean? And you can do a separation agreement. If there's a breakup, then have just some of it just in a logistical plan. If there's a breakup, okay, I'm going to take some money, or she'll take her money, whichever the agreement is, buy a storage unit immediately. You have a place you can go, right? You have a plan laid out. So like if something bad goes down, sometimes it's not even a breakup.
Sometimes it's just a cohabitation separation. You need to get out of each other's faces. Things got a little bit too heated, and you got to get out of each other's faces, recompose, get your identity back. Okay. But you're still together. Like, that happens too. And that happens a lot. And it's not an unhealthy thing. I've talked to elderly couples who I did it. It was all years and years ago, but I did a little personal quest of talking to old people and people who've been in relationships for over 20 years, right? Like, what things I looked for certain things, similarities, all that. There's a myth out there that these relationships that lasted that long were totally pain-free. It's pretty mythological. I didn't run into any situation where that was the case. What I did run into, though, is people who would say, oh yeah, it was great, everything was great. But then when you ask more pressing questions, you just find out that's absolutely not the case. That they went through times and periods where there was massive, uncertainty and questions about whether or not they were going to stay together. There was breakups, get back together situations. There was all kinds of stuff because people are imperfect, right? And when you make change and you make yourself better, and that's you, that's her, there's always some stressors there. It's not, but change is not comfortable. It's usually painful. And so that can lead to lots of conflict. And in any sense, when you're cohabitating with somebody, you have to be able to exit that situation or have her exit that situation, have that plan understood right from the get-go, and make sure that you're doing with somebody who's emotionally and mentally capable of sticking to the plan. Don't pick somebody who's emotionally erratic, who you can't trust to stick to a plan once it's there. Do you know what I mean? Okay, hey, like, this isn't working. Let's do that. We're executing the plan. You're going to an Airbnb, or I'm going to the Airbnb, and then she won't want to participate in that. I'm not leaving, call the police, I'm serious. Some of these things get really toxic because you guys pick women who are not capable of these kinds of commitments. That's not a good idea. And that's why you take your time. Okay. You take your time. All right. So that's on that. I'll never get to the topic at this rate. All right. I got some more supers, I think, which I do appreciate. Maybe it's just a Q&A session. But this guy asked a question, though, so I have to get to it. My mom is an unwed teen mom, so I highly value only having a baby with my husband. Good. Okay. How do women navigate this? I don't believe in marriage culture. Yeah, that's a really, this is such a topic. Thank you for asking. This is such a topic that I really need to hit up a whole video, a whole separate thing, because you're right. I mean, so here we have, you're asking me, which is a great question, because you want, reasonably so, the security of a marriage to build a family under, right? And you don't want to be giving yourself up to dudes without any sense of security. You don't want to desire a guy and have that emotional draw to a guy, but then have no security or paternal certainty that he's going to be around as a dad. And I don't think you want to build a family with somebody who is, not going to be a good legacy partner, meaning a good partner to grow old with, right? I mean, that's reasonable. So how do we navigate this? Well, you got to understand that there's a commitment that marriage is a government thing, all right? And it's also a spiritual thing. So there's two things here, right? And so first, it's going to start with you sort of having a different understanding of it and a different way of thinking. So you're more open to understanding people, and especially men, who are like, I'm never getting married, or I don't believe in it, right? And so when you open up your understanding, it'll make it easier for you to have these conversations, and then set up your standards and boundaries so you get what the marriage was supposed to accomplish for you as a woman who's building a family. Okay. And what that accomplishes is a sense of security, both, financially, as well as all of the other things, a good, paternal partner, a good paternity partner, a good dad, and setting you up success for long-term legacy stuff. Right. And so you have the legal agreement of marriage, and you have the the spiritual side of it. I say spiritual. Listen, if you're not a spiritual person, that's okay. But that's what marriage started as, really, or I don't say started as, but was adopted as into was the church, right? And for a long time, church state was not separated either, right? So it all blended together for a long time. But now we're much more secularized society, for better or for worse. We have the spiritual marriage. So like a Christian or a Muslim or whoever goes into church and they have a spiritual union with their partner. Okay. That, look at that as a separate thing that's based on your religious values and beliefs between you and your partner and the church or organization you belong to. That is a separate thing than the governmental marriage, the government contract of marriage. And so the government contract of marriage is different. There's nothing special or, spiritual or, anything there, okay, between you and a partner that would make you guys like a union. It's like literally a business agreement. It'd be like, it's no more special in a sense, the government agreement, than getting into a business partnership with your friend and starting up an Etsy store. Okay. Something like that. And so you want to treat the marriage contract like a business contract. And then you look at how you look at your relationship as different than that and separate from that contract. All right. In a sense. Now you get married and have both the church and the thing. That's fine. But still look at those as separate entities, because you have to separate them, because one is a legal business thing. It has nothing to do with how you feel about your partner, how much you love your partner, what your life plans are necessarily. All it is business. Okay. And so understanding that, that's how you want to approach a marriage contract. And so if it's in a business agreement, how would you approach that business agreement? If you're looking to have somebody get into an agreement where in the situation where you break the agreement, let's say cheat on a high school boyfriend. I'm not saying you do that, but let's say that happens, right? You start cheating on somebody else and you say, I'm leaving, I've been cheating. You can now take half of that person's shit and take their income for 5 years if you're a stay-at-home mom or something, right? Like, or if you're in California, for life. Like, you see what I mean? Like the government is setting it up where it's an unfair agreement. And so if you recognize that it could be, not maybe not. Now there's situations where women are paying alimony to dudes. That to me is an unfair agreement. Was the guy probably, if they both make their own money, why can't you split the assets? So maybe one guy makes 45,000 and the other, then the chick makes 120 grand, okay, a year. Let's say that's what happens. Well, okay, but why does she owe him her income in this split? You know what I mean? Why? Right? Why is that? But a lot of government agreements will say, well, yeah, he has to support a lifestyle, therefore she has to pay him. And in some places it would be, for 5 years as usual, but there's longer than that. There's until the other person gets married. And so then you run into these situations. Well, a guy now is paying alimony to a girl who's living with her boyfriend and then has the kids too. And he's paying child support, alimony. And then she's not ever going to marry this other guy because he just collects money from the ex like a parasite. These are the things that are allowed to happen with a bad business agreement. Okay. And sometimes the government rules of your state and area aren't set up for fairness. And so you got to think in terms of fairness at first, rather than self-protection, right? Or trying to get as much out of the deal in that breakup. And you got to think, well, what would be a fair business agreement? This has nothing to do with how I feel about my partner. This has to do with what should be a fair agreement. And that's what you want to approach marriage as. Maybe the guy doesn't want to get married. Okay, well, then what's a fair agreement I can have if you want me to have children with you and you want me to stay at home and give up an income, let's say that's the scenario. What agreement can I get in then? I'm not looking at any chats right now. I'm just talking. So if you type in for me, I haven't seen nothing yet. Sorry. But, and, I'm surprisingly fast for, thank you. I appreciate that. I don't know if that's a compliment or not. But John, Modern Life Dating, is in the house though. He's got the Masculine Empowerment Network. I'll be speaking in that network. I like to plug you, John, when you pop into my videos. I appreciate you, bro. So he's the man. Go over Modern Life Dating when you're not listening to me. So, anyways, but back to that agreement though. So you have to ask yourself as a woman, because this is a woman that asked, and guys, this is good for you to hear too, is what's a good and fair agreement that I would want to get into where I can raise a family and be protected at the same time, and be protected in the event of a breakup, because that's what marriage is. It's not something that's tying you together. It's a contractual agreement that says what's going to happen in case you break up, right? Because you could live together and you could do your will, and you could do your house. You could put both people on the house, both people on bills. If you want to combine finances, you could combine finances, have both your bank account. You could do everything to simulate a marriage without doing marriage contract. But for the most part, some few exceptions there, like military is some exceptions, even life insurance and stuff. There's life insurance and programs where your partner goes on as a person. With the advent of, gay marriage, stuff like that, there's companies and things that work towards that. Okay. That make those things possible. So you don't need the marriage contract. So you have to ask, no, I'm not saying don't get the marriage contract either. You have to ask yourself what it's for then, right? It's not to keep you together. The marriage contract is to make it either more difficult for you to split, which that's probably problematic. And if you think of your relationship like that, but it's really to make it so it's to dictate the agreement so nobody gets harmed during the split. That's what a marriage agreement by the government, not the spiritual agreement, by the government is for. And so you want to approach things in that manner. And it's going to be a conversation with a guy who is of good quality, we'll say, for building a family with. And that's going to take you some time to figure out. And I don't envy you, lady that asked this question, Diamond. I don't envy you here. Okay. Because, and then you asked this question here too. The Louisiana boomer grandpa is against shacking up. Yeah. So unmarried people living together. Well, again, I kind of gave the cohabitation thing. I'm fine with that. See, the boomer grandpa is in an old world paradigm, which is to believe, and this is how governments take control of your mind. All right. Is they take something that has meaning and then they slap other crap on it. You know why a lot of these bills that should accomplish things or prevent things don't get passed? They slap, the pork on it. They call it pork, right? Or whatever, which is they slap other crap on it that has nothing to do with the bill, that it just goes with. And so then they'll say this person didn't support, I don't know, gay marriage or abortion rights or something. But then you look at the bill for abortion rights or whatever, and it's like all of this other stuff that takes away someone's freedoms that has nothing to do with abortion. It's completely different. There's maybe some funding for roads in there. And I'm not even kidding. If you look at this stuff, it's crazy. And so our system is stupid in that sense. And they're constantly trying to manipulate you into getting into things and doing things where you don't have the full information. Reminds me of when I was in the military. Somebody would be like, hey, we need a couple volunteers. It'll be fine. It's a small little detail. We need guys to help out with something for a little bit. And then you find out that it's this catastrophic mess and you're there for 3 days. That happens all the time. They want to get you to agree with something that by preventing limited information or putting some information out there that only presents one picture, and then you agree to it or whatever. And next thing you know, you're in this mess. All right. When you're getting divorced, who does that benefit? I mean, hopefully if you set it up right, it benefits the couple that has to be away from each other, but that's not how it gets set up. You're filtering money into a system and into people's pockets. And sometimes lots and lots of money, the more you fight, just to get away from this person. And it's all created a business, a $1 billion, business and industry created just from regulations that don't share the full story. And that's a lot of regulations out there. And that marriage is one of those things. And so you need to be smart. And your grandpa, it's like he isn't going to understand it. It's like, look, you just tell them that we're, if you have you have to decide what you want to say to them, right? But if you have spiritual beliefs, like you're a Christian, let's say, whatever, go ahead and be Christian married to somebody without the government contract. Tell grandpa, have a ceremony if you want it. See, I don't know what you want. This is all a thing. But I've had people, there's so many different ways. The reason why I'm illustrating, there's so many different ways to solve this problem. I've had people go through the ceremony and the religious thing and have the party and all that stuff. And everybody is like in the mental state mindset that they are a married couple because they spiritually are together and they believe they're married, and that's their spiritual beliefs, but they don't get married by the state. And they have a cohabitation agreement, other stuff. I've had people get married by the state, but with an understanding what that breakup would look like the business agreement should be lined up, and then figuring out, because of reasons that they had to involve the state. A lot of military people, that ends up being something they have to do. They have to be married on paper in order to get the benefits. Even after divorce, sometimes that'll happen, is they'll have to, maintain some sort of thing. They used to call it an Irish marriage too, which is, people like they leave a relationship, they shack up with someone else, and then they're technically still married by the Catholic Church with this person, and then they need the annulment, right? So there's plenty of times when there's the red tape and the bullshit makes it not worth a divorce, and that doesn't mean that person's still spiritually married to their partner. That means they have a legal agreement, that has to work for them. And so you got to just look. So that's the advice. Okay. Really, it's worth a whole separate video to even get in deeper, because there's a lot to it. But you have to really figure out what it is you're trying to accomplish with the marriage, what your needs and goals are. And then if a man is against it, now you can have a conversation. Well, why are we against this? What is it? And what is it that you're against about it? And if he doesn't have that sorted out and figured it out for himself, maybe he's not the person you should be thinking about having children with, right? But if he is somebody who's like, I don't want to, it sets up a bad, cis situation where guys get screwed over. Maybe that's the thing, right? Okay, cool. Guys get screwed over. That happens. Women are getting screwed over too now in these situations, but it's a whole nother story. You can say, well, why don't we set it up so we can't screw each other over? Why don't we do a prenup, do a post-nup, and have that post-nup reviewed anytime our financial situation changes, like job changes or income changes, things like that. Like, why don't we just have that going and do that somewhere in a state or area where it makes sense, so we can build a family and have access to a bunch of things. Or maybe you do live somewhere like California, for example, where none of those agreements will apply, and it's completely unfair for that man to get into a marriage with you. And then instead of getting married, maybe by the government, maybe you get married because you have a spiritual belief, and you do it with your church and your family. Okay. Well, you're in Louisiana. I don't know what the laws are in Louisiana. So maybe you do it in Louisiana. You appease grandpa. It shouldn't be doing it to appease grandpa, but you do it because you love your partner and that's what you believe in. And then you set up things contractually with an attorney that suits the both of you, and that's fair, and maybe that fairness is a marriage, or maybe it's not a marriage, and maybe it's just a cohabitation agreement with, a resource agreement, like for split and stuff like that. And whatever, man, I don't know. And that can get more complicated because the marriage is supposed to shortcut a lot of that stuff. But unfortunately, with shortcutting it, you end up screwing people in the process too. And I mean, if you're a good person and you care about your partner and he cares about you, neither of you should want to screw each other over in a breakup. Now, screwing people over in a breakup definitely happens because both one or the other stops caring about the other person. I'm not going to point at women too hard here, but it's women. A lot of times. It just is a lot of times because women are more pragmatic in the way that they care about and love someone. So when they've lost that, they can get very pragmatic and very ruthless. And where the guy has an instinctive protective nature, doesn't mean that the guy's always in the right or something, right? Sometimes the guy is a real a-hole in these things too when he feels like he was damaged. But anyway, at any rate, the point is damaged people damage other people. And if you're in a breakup, you're damaged now from something emotionally, and you have to recover. And there's a real good chance you'll try to damage each other, which is why having some agreement in place that's fair and not allowing yourself even in the worst of times, in the worst emotional state, the leeway to screw someone over. I wouldn't want an agreement where I'm in love with somebody, I want to get married, and then, but if it breaks up, I can take all of her shit and make her a resource slave to me. Like, that isn't really me caring about somebody, right? That's not an agreement you should be wanting to get into. As a man, I wouldn't want it the other way around. You know what I mean? And so that's just something to think about. And it's no clear answer. But when you can have these discussions, though, with a dude with an open mind, you can open the paradigm and you can empathize with where he's coming from, that now you can actually get somewhere. And he can, he can understand your needs, and he could lead it into solutions that are going to be good for the both of you, with your help, of course, and support and suggestions and discussions. And so that's how that can go really well. But if you're just like trying to convince him to do what you want without really analyzing what it is you're asking for, though, and not empathizing with what reasons why he wouldn't want to go with it, that's not going to be good. You're not going to be in a good spot. It's going to be a conflict. And so the key is to be understanding and supportive and understand why, and don't personalize it. It's not about you, probably. So girls listening and guys listening too, who are dealing with girls on the other side, women will make this about them and think, well, if he loved me more, and really, if I was really the one, then he would just stop arguing about this. It's not about that. You know what I mean? It's not about that. So you got to open yourself up. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, well, that's a whole thing. And thank you, official Josh Olson, for the $20, man. Thank you. Appreciate that. That is awesome. Okay, cool. Let's get into the topic now. Woo! I already had a subtitle. We're already 42 minutes in. That's okay. It's good. Okay, so how do you not lose, right? How do you not lose your partner, pretty much? How do you maintain this attractiveness to your partner? Okay, that's the whole thing. That's the whole crux of this question. How do you maintain desire? And this is a, man to woman situation, right? Okay, how do you build tension in a comfortable relationship? Was the original question, actually, from the last week. And so, because when I say building desire, I put it in the thumbnail, but like saying building tension, that doesn't really answer. Like, a lot of people, the normies out there, they don't know what the hell that I'm talking about, right? You guys watching me for a little bit understand that desire exists in tension. Okay, too much tension is going to be, pushing into anxiety and feelings of uncertainty, and but it's tension plus sexual openness. Too much tension, she starts to sexually close, and then it's dangerous now, right? So we want too much tension, but too little tension, well, that's just comfort. That's like the friend zone. You got comfort sex where she's having fun, feels good, get off, almost like a massage, right? Maybe orgasms a little bit and then rolls over, goes to sleep. That's your married sex, and married sex is fine. It's frequent, great. Warm, it's comforting. But if all you're having is married sex, it's probably not good, right? If that comfort, let's just bang because we usually bang during the week, and you're my my significant other or whatever, that comfort sex, it's just easy and get off or whatever, it's better than jerking off, it's better than her take care of herself, that's okay. Like, sometimes, nothing wrong. I'm not saying everything has to be this massive, mind-blowing experience. That would be really a lot to manage, but you don't want that to be like the predominant experience, or we don't want it to be a rare thing that you guys have those mind-blowing experiences, right? You want to maintain that high desire. You don't want to get into such a level of comfort where she basically starts to see you as more of a friend that she lets stick your D in right, in her, right? Like, that's not where you want to end up. And many marriages, most long-term relationships, that's exactly where they end. They don't end usually. Well, there's a lot of relationships that aren't marriages that do end in high tension. But marriages particularly end usually in low tension by the female. And that's low desire. And that is why 70% of divorces are initiated by women. They've lost the desire. That tension is gone. They may have resentment, and then that's when resentment easily kicks in because they're not living the life that they wanted, and they blame that on their partner. Whether they realize they're blaming it on their partner or not, they resent their partner for it, meaning you, the guy. They resent you for it. They resent you for them not feeling differently, which could be probably is partially your fault. And so that goes on over time, and too much of that dull comfort. You end up in, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. And let's try to do this as amicably as we can. And then when she gets to that kind of a breakup, it's not a blow up breakup, but it's a calculated, can't do this anymore. Sorry, love you, but not in love with you kind of a breakup. Okay. You're done. Like there isn't anything there. Okay. Like she's lost that tension. She's lost that attraction. And it's been that way for a while. By the time she gets to that point, she has a number in her head, whether she realizes it or not, that where she has to feel like a good chimpanzee, as I say, and I say chimpanzee, not because women are monkeys or weird things people want to project on me. It's because of the mammalian brain is the one in charge of this area of your brain. Okay. She wants to feel like a good person, a good chimp. Okay. And so is it 6 months? Is it 3 months? How long is she going to take? I don't care about this guy that much. Is it a couple years? Right. And so she has a time in her head, and that time can change because if a new opportunity arises, like Super Chad wants to D her down, she's going to expedite the process. Right. Or perhaps, if it's, she's got resources tied up and stuff, back to that prison of a marriage situation, and she can't just leave. She won't work on it necessarily. She may try, but she'll do a number of things so she feels better about herself. Let's do counseling. Counseling's not to repair it. A lot of times counseling is to say, I did counseling, so I tried it. Hey, I did this, I tried that, I tried to give him BJ's on Fridays, I tried that. She'll do things just to try it. It's a transactional reasoning. Remember, transactional reasonings for doing things in a relationship is the lowest level and not the motivator you want in a relationship. If people are doing something because they have to in an exchange for resources or needs, there's a resentment that will follow that because they want to feel like they want to do it, not that they have to do it in order to get things in return. Okay, so you don't want to be there. And if she's into that breakup, by the way, that's a whole nother thing we can always talk about, is how to handle these breakups. And I have other videos there, but she's as good as gone. Okay. She is gone. She's gone before you got there. She was biding her time so she could be a good chimp and say, I worked on it for the amount of time that is socially acceptable and reasonable. So I can say to myself, I did what I could. She didn't do what she could. She was out a long time ago. All right. And so you never want it to get there, man. They never want it to get there. That's the point. And so I'm going to give you 7 tips so it doesn't. If you follow this, it won't. Okay. Provided you did your work, your due diligence, and picked the right chick. You know what I mean? And so, just back to that, because we talked so much about the damn thing. You've been surprised a lot. I'm probably going to split this into another video too, just because it's like 2 separate topics. But it's a great topic, though. Surprised how many women my age don't believe in marriage. They believe it's a scam and but it does, though. Actually, the government contract can do that, though. That can be the effect. I'm not saying it has to be the effect. Plenty of married couples will do it right. Okay, I'm not telling guys not to get married or women not to get married if that's what they truly believe in and it truly suits them. But you have to understand that you're involving the government now. You're involving a third-party entity that is going to legally dictate what you can and can't do. And they can unilaterally change their minds on how that's done without your consent, right? The government can change the marriage laws tomorrow and what they mean and whatever it is. And you're married to your partner under one set of, ideas, and they change it. And you won't even know they changed it. It's not like you're getting a report in your emails to when marriage law changed in your county. And you could find yourself in a breakup scenario later, or just some scenario, or even just not even a breakup, like you're trying to do something with resources or something, I don't know, and you're finding that the rules have changed. And this is the problem with it, is that the government can change the rules anytime they want. And now you're literally inviting the government into your union with your partner. People who are religiously married, I want them to think about that. Do you want your God that you believe in your relationship as you believe they should be? Or do you want the government to overrule what you and what her and what your beliefs are with your higher power are, overrule it for you anytime they want? That's the thing. That's the problem with it. I'm not saying don't do it, but know that that's what's going on in your mind, so you can figure out, what do I accept? What don't I accept? How can I set myself up the right way here? And I can't, I would advise a woman getting into a marriage where the resources are owned by the dude and she's going to be a stay-at-home mom and she benefits, tenfold from a divorce if it were to happen. I still advise her to get into a prenup to protect herself. All right. Not because if the rules change, maybe she's not getting what she thinks she should get. You see what I mean? What if the rules flip in 5 years from now, and things are so volatile out there, they flip in 5 years. And now this chick thought she would, if in the case of a breakup, for the sacrifices she made, she thought, well, I'd get something. But if they made, alimony no longer a thing in certain states, and that's the state she happens to be married in, like that could happen. And now she's sitting here going, well, holy crap, I've given up a job. I don't have any means of an income, and I'm taking care of 2 kids. And if I want to be out of this relationship because he's cheating on me and beating me up, well, I have to, I can't even get some money to get on my feet because we're in debt. We don't have any money. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, these things can happen, and people can really screw themselves over because the government's not out for your interests. They're out for theirs in a collective interest. Right. And so you just got to be smart. That's all. You got to be smart. I think it's good that women are questioning things. It's good. You should question too. Everybody should. And that doesn't mean don't get married. Okay. That's what you want. Then that's what you want, that protection and all that. Do it. I advocate for you to do it. Okay. But just do it the right way. All right. Just do it with that stuff in mind so that you don't screw yourself and screw your partner who you should be in love with and care about. Right. And you wouldn't want to do that. All right. Now back to the main part of the topic here. How not to get there in the first place. How do we not get to the divorce? Well, you got to maintain this stuff, right? You got to maintain desire. And so here's 7 steps. We'll go over it. 7 things. Okay. First thing is to be attractive. Oh my God. That's so easy. That's an easy one. That's a gimme. I should have asked you guys first what you think the first thing is. As a man and as a woman, actually, I have women in the chat right now. So this applies to both of you. You got to be attractive. Look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, would you F yourself? If you're the opposite sex? It's a reasonable question. Some guys will sit there and go, there's low quality women out there. How do I get on the dating market? And I'll be like, okay, first of all, look in the mirror. All right. I start there, not to black pill them and make them think it's all about looks and blah, blah. But we're not talking about genetic, things you can't change. We're talking about, being in shape, being healthy, taking care of yourself, taking care of your teeth, taking care of your skin, taking care of your fashion. So you're not showing up looking stupid, right? Looking out of place, looking not good. I mean, whatever. I'm not talking about being a triad and wearing a tuxedo everywhere or some shit. But I'm talking about, I'm here in my tuxedo. I'm dressed to the nines, my lady. I mean, you can show up looking like me right now with a t-shirt and a hat on, but the particular look that you have, you're cleaned up, you take care of yourself. People get in these relationships long-term and they get lazy and they stop doing those things, both men and women, right? Never do that. Okay. Never do that. All right. And so that's your first piece of advice. Always be have the mindset of making yourself more attractive every single year. Attractive people get advantages. There's just hands down. If you're in business, you get advantages. All right. It doesn't matter being on YouTube. I'm not saying I'm a Calvin Klein model, but I'm not unattractive. It helps. It does. Okay. It does. Women, men, you're making that sale, you being more attractive. Let's say, just in the simplest thing is don't be overweight. I know we harp on this stuff in the internet space. It's not to shame people. It's just so goddamn easy. And I know it's not easy for you, maybe if you're overweight. I understand, actually, it's quite hard. So I didn't mean to shit all over you, but it's one of the things you can do something about and you can control. Okay. It's not independent on your genetic. Well, there is some genetics thing. Let's be real. Some people I know I get fatter easier. So, all right. But I build muscle easier too. So I angle it towards that. Right. And so, yeah, you have to, figure it out. How can I take care of my body so I can stay in a decent weight, in a decent size in terms of my body fat, right? And do that stuff and be attractive, right? Be attractive physically. Don't stop gaming your wife, your girl. Don't stop seducing. Don't get lazy in the bedroom. Do you know what I mean? And I just want to point out that the audience thinks I'm handsome. Yeah, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. So you hear that, everybody? Handsome dude right here. But anyway, you can't stop being attractive. You learned all this game shit. You took my pickup course, that's coming up, to learn how to get the girls and be attractive and stuff and all that, and to be calibrated. Then you get in that relationship and you're like, cool, I don't need to be attractive anymore. I don't have to even stop. No, don't fucking do that. You know what I mean? All right. So don't do that. Okay. You have to game your wife, game your girl, court your girl always. You do that, you're going to solve a lot of problems. That's how you maintain desire, is that right there. Okay. Being attracted, and it's not even like what you're doing. It's just how you're showing up. Okay, you can work on that. If you're a single guy, ask yourself every, so often, if I was a single guy going out there to pick up on hoes, this channel, why does YouTube hate me? I don't know. We're talking about picking up on hoes. All right. If you're going out there, right, are you at a point of attractiveness where that would be, you feel good about that? And if you're not, get yourself to the back to that point or to that point. Okay. That's what you need to do in the relationship. I don't care if you're married for 20 years. Don't do that shit to your partner and let yourself go. All right. And women, please, for the love of God, attractiveness is the number one thing that drew him to you. If you can't expect him to put effort into you at all if you have let yourself go. Seriously, you can't. And that doesn't mean he won't, because he probably loves you and he will. All right. But but then you need to look at that as like, damn, this is a gift I need to be grateful for every day. It never ceases to amaze me when I run into women who have let themselves go completely, right? And they're doing nothing about it. And then they have this huge amount of entitlement for what their man should be doing for them. It's like you kind of lost that when you lost the attractiveness, didn't you? A little bit. Like there was a agreement you guys had that was maybe unspoken, that you guys would still be attracted to each other, and you guys still be having good sex, and you guys still be all these things, and that all stopped, but you still want all the things. And that can go either way, by the way, guy, girl. It's not a fair thing to do with your partner, right? So be attractive. That's number one. All right. Number two, for men, have a purpose outside of the relationship that takes time outside of the relationship. So far, two things that I talked about to maintain desire has nothing to do with the chick and what you're doing with her or for her. Remember that. Okay. Guys that are new to this kind of stuff, that come to my channel new, they're coming from a paradigm of what more can I do for my woman to make her like me? Wrong spot to be in, dude. She likes the man who is doing for himself and who is showing up and being the guy. She is attracted to the guy that is it, not the guy that does the things for her. Think about when you're single, guys who are in relationships. Think about when you weren't doing so well with women, which maybe some of you still, of course, right? And she would have the dude she sleeps with, okay? And then she had all these guys chasing after her, offering her presents, offering to do things for her. Let me make your life easier. Let me do this. Let me do that. Hey, how are you feeling? All right. All of these guys, the emotional tampon, the fixer car guy, the let me take you out the guy, let's go to nice places guy. She wasn't sleeping with those guys usually. She was sleeping with a guy who barely did any of those things because he showed up and was it. You need to be the it guy for her. All right. That's being attractive and being on your purpose. When you're on your purpose, and it could be a multiple thing. Maybe you have a job that's relatively, let's say you're one of my older guys, right? And you're retired. Holy shit, your purpose. What happened to it? Well, now your purpose is golf and getting your golf game awesome and maybe doing a charity thing. All right. You get what I'm saying? You always have something there. Okay. Have a hobby, have a passion, have things that take you outside of the relationship where you're working on you and you're separate from her. If you guys don't, as much as you guys want to, when the beginning of a thing, beginning of that, especially that honeymoon phase, you're all over each other's space all the time. Get out of each other's space and do it frequently. Okay. Because it's away from each other that desire is actually built up. That's where more tension is built. Okay. If you're in each other's face all the time, it feels good. And then it starts to come down a bit. All right. That never will be a problem if you take yourself out of the relationship to do things for you, right? That are on purpose, that are productive, that are good. It makes you more attractive and it gets you not so focused on her and making her the center of your life, which is the downfall. Okay. The attractiveness and desire is lost when she becomes the center. She doesn't want to be the center, dude. Too much pressure. She wants to be your complement. She wants to be on your team, not the person who's being worshiped. And if she picked you in order to be worshiped, you're probably the beta dude that you shouldn't have got married to this chick, right? And that's a real problem. And you do need to hit me up and we can figure something out, get you in a program with me so that you can flip that around or get out of it. You know what I'm saying? So dude, I did this video on cuck psychology. It was so freaking good. That's all any stranger finds me on now. That's the only thing out of all the shit I say that's good information. YouTube is like, go F yourself. I'm not going to push any of this information out. I talk about cucking though. Know why though? Because see, cucking is femme-centric. It's woman-centric, isn't it? It's a woman taking advantage of a guy for resources, really, and going out and getting laid by other dudes. And so because that's where our society is at now, oh boy, aren't we awesome? Sodom and Gomorrah is here, ladies and gentlemen. That is what gets pushed out. Things that talk about empowering you men, though, okay? Nope, dead silence. Better start 2 other channels because nobody knows who the hell I am or what I'm doing. Yeah, so the cuck stuff. Everyone, okay, great. I talk about cucking, super uncomfortable topic. Now it's out there. anything that's like absolutely shameful, shaming dudes, or just shame guys. I'll just come out with video titles that just shit all over men. I'd probably be out there pretty good, you know. And or I could shit on certain demographics of women too. That seems to be really popular. Just crap all over people. I'm just not crapping on people enough. All right. Back to it. So attractiveness and having a purpose outside your relationship. 2 of the biggest things you can do to maintain desire, actually. Now, that doesn't mean it's the only thing. If you don't give her any time and attention, that's going to be a bad choice. Okay. But just being attractive, being a hot dude who's on his purpose, you'll always maintain. She may be mad at you for not spending enough time. And that could be a downfall of your relationship too. But she's never going to walk away thinking that you weren't a hot dude that she was attracted to, right? And you could put all the time, energy, and attention to her, but be off your purpose, which means you're not going to have alpha behavior when you show up, and you're also letting yourself go and unattractive. Now you're just the unattractive guy who's, simping for her. That's not hot. She doesn't want that. Okay. So starts off with you being a hot dude, as hot as you can be, right? And try to get better every single year. She should look at you 5 years after a marriage and go, holy shit, he's better looking than when I started. I better step my freaking game up here. Right? That's where you want to be. I'll give a compliment to my brother if he actually ever watches my crap. I know he does. He's in a marriage and he's, doing that whole, the whole family thing. Ew. But he just did a bodybuilding contest. Not a bodybuilding, let chicks want bodybuilders, but, he shredded up, man. And he's, not a young 20 something. He's shredded. His physique looks better now in his 40s than it did when he was, in his 20s. Period. Physique looks better. Think his wife doesn't think he's hot. Now maybe she's not going to want to jump on him with a stage body because most women are horrified about that. But give it 3 days after stage, She thinks he's good looking. He's working his job and doing well. Do you think thinks he's attractive? Poof. All right. It doesn't matter. That's a start right there. That's a start. It's not a finish, but that's a start. If you never lose your attractiveness and never lose your purpose, you're in a good foundation. If you lose those things, which is usually what I see, is the dude will make her the center of his universe, let himself, or he'll do the opposite, get complacent, one or the other. He lets himself go, is unmotivated, turns into a kind of a loser who's married, and turns into that boomer who talks about, power wash in his driveway and shit on the weekends, never courts his what all those things. Then he all of a sudden realizes his wife wants to leave him because he's unattractive. And then he starts trying to bring her flowers and do things for her. All that does is make her pity him. The unattractive guy that let himself go and got off his purpose, that's bringing her flowers and asking her on dates and trying to, let me give you a massage and let me seduce you with my creep hands that are now gross because I'm gross. Yeah, guess what? She just wants to throw up in her mouth. And then she feels bad about it. And she cries herself to sleep at night because you're unattractive. And now you're the unattractive guy who's, trying to win her over. And it's just like, blah, blah. Okay. Right. And she feels bad. It's pity. Okay. It's just, yeah, that's worse. I'd rather have her mad. All right. You'd rather have her mad at you but attracted than pitying you. Okay. I'll tell you that. Cause from probably well over 1,000, hundreds of consults with dudes and some women. That's the worst place to be, is where she is unattracted and pitying you. So attractive, be on your purpose. If you forget everything else, okay, remember those two things, because we can repair things from there if they're fucked. We can't repair them if you've lost that. I mean, we always can, but it's going to take a lot more time, a lot longer than, right, for you to become attractive again and to get on purpose again. That's a whole mountain to cross. Totally worth crossing, but I'd rather have you not slide back. Okay. Number 3, banger well, banger often, have catastrophic, awesome sexual experiences, get better at sex, make it a priority. Right. If you're in my mastermind group, we have some modules we'll be getting into, and I've dealt with guys individual consults on getting better at sex. I teach dudes how to get better at sex. My good friend Sterling Cooper has courses on getting better at sex. I'll plug him right now. You just start getting better at sex. Create a great experience for her in the bedroom and for yourself, because as men, if she's having a great time, you're having a great time. All right. I won't go down the rabbit hole too much for that. That's behind a paywall, but there's some sexual psychology things you need to know and you need to get on top of, as well as, the skill set stuff. Skill set's actually the lowest level, though, believe it or not. It's what goes on up here in the seduction part, everything that leads up to the banging. That's the part where that strong desire is built. If you're her best lay, she has real problems walking away from you. Okay. She has real, if you're her best lay and you still are her best lay, because you've got number 1 and 2 figured out too, she's not going to be unattracted to you. I could probably stop at 3 right now. Okay. I just know that you being a hot dude on his purpose who bangs her well isn't enough to keep a relationship together, which is why we got 4 more bullets. Okay. But if you cover those 3, if that divorce happens, it's probably not because she doesn't think you're hot and think you're attractive and because she doesn't desire you. It's probably because of other things. Okay. Which we'll get into. But if you are great in the bedroom with her, and hopefully you're not hitching up with somebody who isn't somebody that and are pretty confident that you're her your best experience. You need to be each other's top tier experiences for her. More importantly, she needs to see you as the best experience, and then that needs to build from there and continue that over time. Okay, so pay attention to your sex life, your sexual relationship. So many dudes, including the red pill manosphere dudes, don't talk about this because I think they have issues with it, to be honest. And so bag your issues and start getting better with this stuff. All right. It's really important. Okay. So that's your first 3 things. If you cover those 3 things, man, you're pretty solid, but let's keep going here. Number 4 is have intimate time to connect. So now we have the tension of great sex and you being a hot dude. Well, you, there's that comfort stuff. And the question really was, how do I build tension in a comfortable relationship? Be a hot dude, take time away from the relationship to be on your purpose and have great sex. That's the answer. But with that, though, if that's all it is, she's going to start getting anxiety. If you go from I'm super comfortable to, hey, not seeing you very much. I know you're really busy, babe. What's been going on? Hey, let's go do something cool. And then you bang her in an alley or something or whatever, do some crazy stuff and, try something new, tie her up and do some things. And she's like, holy crap, this guy just I just got my brains slammed on a Thursday and I can't believe I came that much. And now he just left again because he's got to go to work. Like, what's going on? Like that, you've just built a bunch of tension. And with that, it's like, is he cheating on me? What's he doing? Anxieties happens now too. Even if you didn't do anything to break trust, if you did, you're really in trouble. But if you didn't, even now some anxiety's coming up. Now you're going to end up with some drama. Hey, what's going on? Blah, blah, blah. You didn't do this. Like she might even bring drama into the equation because anxiety's too high. Right. And so, because she's getting smashed by a high top tier dude, she's now afraid of losing you. Okay. So you have to have that intimate time to connect. This is what I call quiet time or intimate time with your partner. All right. If you're with somebody, you're serious, you should have that time. Once a day is really good if you cohabitate, but at least a few times a week where you just chill and you talk and you just be in each other's presence. And that's it. And there's no sex involved, right? You're just being in each other's presence. And she feels like she can communicate with you. You empathize with her. She feels like that. She feels your presence as that alpha man in her life, that intimate time. So many couples, especially married couples with kids, they get zipping around town with the kids everywhere and they're exhausted. And then they eat dinner and one falls asleep on the couch. The other says, I'm going upstairs. They don't spend intimate time together. And it's really like 20 minutes, sit on the porch, relax with a beverage after dinner, go for a walk, you have your routine. And in this can be routine. The hot sex, cool experiences, things you do that are exciting shouldn't be routine, but your intimate time can be routine. It can be something she relies on that balances out the you working on you, the you being a hot dude, the cool sex, cool crap you're going, and then the time you are away, not paying attention to her at all. Okay. So you're not giving her the attention. She wants more of your attention, right? But she can rely on some quiet time with you. She can rely on knowing that naturally few times a week, you're going to sit in the living room and relax and just talk or lay on the couch together, right? Snuggled up or, be on your porch, relaxing. I do cigars. And so, if I'm with somebody, she's hanging out with me, like on my little, maybe the porch area, just having that time together, not trying to accomplish anything. She can talk about whatever she wants. You want to talk about her day, wants to talk about what we're doing, it's just bullshit about something funny she heard today. Like, doesn't matter. Okay. Just intimate time. And that is going to balance out a lot of things. And that brings you closer together. And that makes it not just comfort in terms of like a friendship vibe now, that makes it an intimate vibe, right? Being close together, physically close together can be part of that. Not just after sex, but, during different times. That brings it intimacy. Remember, you got the four drivers or, things that sort of keep them involved in a relationship. It's sexual desire, emotional, like the love feelings, the lower level, but do they like you? They don't always have to like you, but most of the time. And then transactional stuff, right? And so this is building on that love side of it, that, I want to call it love. It can be a container word. I get it, but you get what I mean. Okay. And so you want that to balance. That's number 4. Number 5 is now do cool shit together. Okay. Experiences. Number 5 is experiences. Create a diverse level of experience. By the end of the year, you should look at your year and go, we've done some cool crap this year. And that should go that way for the rest of your life. The world is pretty big and there's a lot to do. In fact, your town and your little location that you live in with your chick is big enough to find new shit to do, probably indefinitely. Okay. And that doesn't mean you'll never have a repeat. And it doesn't mean it's not always new. Okay. But it's randomized. In other words, maybe you have a restaurant you both really love, but you're not doing it at 8 o'clock every Thursday the second Thursday of the month and the fourth Thursday of the month, right? It's not predictable. That's what makes it some variety. But maybe you are going to that restaurant a few times a month, but it's just very more randomized. And then with that, you're doing other things together. So surrounding the awesome blowout sex that you're having are doing cool things. All right. Going on dates, to the normies in the married normie boomers out there. It's like, go on dates. But yeah, it's this thing though, right? It's a thing. You're going out with your partner that you care about and you like. Go someplace cool. Go do some stuff on vacation. If you don't have money for vacation, you don't need it. All right. Go do something else that's cool. Right? Find cool shit all the time. A few times a month, if you're really busy, once a week is really even a better number. But I mean, going out and doing cool things frequently balances out everything else. All right. And that's number 5. And you have to do that. And that'll continue. And it's variety. And so doing that in variety makes things not dull and makes things not get so comfortable, relaxed, and whatever. Okay. And that mixed with time away is good. And then number 6, okay, is don't create problems. Okay. And so don't create problems. That means that don't be the person to bring drama into the relationship or create problems. Now, I know there's some advice out there, some people that I actually like talk about starting arguments, creating problems in order to keep things sort of fresh and whatever. You don't have to do that. Here's why you don't have to do that. Are you seeing or dating or married to a woman? Question number 1. If the answer is yes, then you will have problems. I don't need to tell you, don't need to create them. You're going to have, sorry, ladies, it's true. There's going to be times when drama happens, when she's got something going on and she's mad about it, mad at you. You're going to go through that. If her passion for you is high, that will happen periodically. You don't need to create it. Now, I know the idea of creating it is to create that instability that her monkey brain needs so that she doesn't create as many problems herself. I get that. But the problem I can see with guys who apply that, though, is that they screw it up. Okay. What happens is, and first of all, it's disingenuous to just create problems anyway. But I mean, I have enough. Sometimes I have a fucking problem. There's something, and I have a problem, and I am a dick. I'm a dick, so I'm going to bring up the problem, and that's what I do. So I don't need to create it. I'll just do it, okay, when it happens. But I'm going to do that as little as I can, all right? I don't want to create this drama, all right? You don't want to, because she'll create the drama for you. When guys try to do that as a strategy, I've seen it blow up way too many times, and I rarely see it work. I'm not saying it doesn't. I know for some people, their relationship dynamic, maybe it does a little bit and she sort of tolerates it, but that doesn't mean it's the optimal thing. Just because it's worked for individual circumstances doesn't mean it's optimal, right? So it screws up because she'll see you as the person who's creating the problems. She'll see you as the drama, right? She'll see you as the one who's unstable. And that's not very alpha. She doesn't see you as that masculine presence. For a lot of guys who try to implement this strategy, they do it in such a way where they're being the drama queen. Basically, they're creating shit that doesn't need to be. They're not the easygoing alpha outcome independent guy now. They're the guy who's bitching about this thing or that thing. And then she deals with it. And each time she has to deal with that, her attraction starts to go down, which is the opposite of what you're trying to do, isn't it? And so, yeah. Now there's ways to do it. I'm not going to say that there are not some alpha dudes out there who know how to create the shit and hold real estate in her brain. I know that's a strategy. I'm not even discounting the strategy, but for you listening to me right now, you're probably not going to do it right. Okay. And it's not, I personally am pretty drama free, so I don't like to go that route. What I do instead though, is I'm paying attention. So I can see around the corner 4 or 5 corners ahead. Okay. I can see in the game of, if this is a game of chess, I can see, several moves ahead. When the drama is brewing, I know it's brewing. And then I'm able to address it, handle it, and create and manage that instability or create some positive tension which is, positive tension, by the way, is where desire is. When I said positive tension in the what you call it, the thumbnail, okay, positive tension, that's not negative tension where I have angry feelings, although tension can still be attraction. She can have angry feelings and still want to bang you. Positive tension is okay, like a little bit of nervousness, but in a good way, trying something new sexually for her could be something. But 10 years into it, how do you do that, right? So positive tension, but I'll land something. She starts seeing some anxiety, some bullshit. She wants to create a problem. You know what I mean? I can see it brewing, right? I do something spontaneous or plan something spontaneous. We're going to do this right now. And then she'll resist and fight it. I have too much to do. That's not, you know what? You're going to do it and stop being stupid, and then I'm not, I got too much to do. You don't care like about that, whatever. She's getting in a fight with you. No, it'll be there when you get back. Let's go. God, you're such a dick. I hate you. And she gets ready. Okay. So there's your drama. Okay. You create a positive tension. You guys end up doing something cool, or you guys end up experiencing something different, or even you catch it ahead of time and say, okay, obviously you got a thing. What's going on with you? And then she brings the thing in the drama, and then you handle it at a low level instead of not recognizing things and having her stew and brew and brew and brew. And so a week later now, after she's, been stewing over something and you've been ignoring it or not noticing it at all, now she's blowing up on you in a unreasonable way. And then she's mad at herself for being unreasonable, which makes her more mad at you because you're the reason and it's your fault. Damn it. It's your fault. Right? Don't let it get there. That's too much fucking tension. Okay. Catch it ahead of time. That's what I do. And if that's a skill set, and that's something that we work on too. And we work on those in my mastermind, guys. We can hash that stuff out over calls and Zoom calls, as how to recognize the drama before it starts. And then, handle it through some positive tension or addressing it so it brings the drama out at a lower level before she stews on it and blows up at a higher level. Now, the key to that, though, too, guys, remember, is you got to pick a good partner, though. If you're picking a partner that's a arrogant person who is going to bring drama anytime she feels like she's been wronged, an unforgiving person that adds up the, perceived faults and assaults and never lets anything go. Her ego's so big. If she's been, feels like you did something, she's been wronged, she's going to want you to pay for the wrong, right? She's going to want, revenge and compensation for things that she perceives. Like, these are types of women out there you don't want to try a long-term thing with, because they're not that drama. Okay. The problems they're going to bring are going to eventually become unsolvable problems. You'll be out of that relationship. Now, some of these women, of course, can learn a different way in your frame, and some can't. And you'll know when that happens, and you'll need to make sure that is an exited relationship. You can't be with somebody who can't, recognize that, for example, when you do something, because you inevitably will do something wrong, that, you can overcome that and be better from it. Perceived slights. There we go. I like that word. Perceived slights. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And so some of them might be real slights, but then there's some forgiveness that needs to be there if things are being different. You both need to be forgiving. Okay. And part of solving problems is being forgiving of your partner and recognizing that your partner that you met a year ago is not going to be the same person that you or she is a year later. People are changed and are different. They change in relationships. Okay. Instead of bitching about that, recognize it and hold frame so it changes in the direction that you both want to go. That's the answer. You grow and change together, not randomly wherever the hell it happens. And so with that, what you might have done or what she might have done a year ago, if she's changed behavior, changed her mental framework, changed a bunch of things, she's not the same person. Okay. And so you have to have that forgiveness when these problems arise. Don't start bringing up digging out skeletons in the closet and all this bullshit. Unless of course those things haven't fixed themselves or changed. And so, but main thing is manage these things, recognize when problems are down the road, address them before they get huge, and don't make problems yourself. That's number 6. And then number 7 is solving problems. Now, why is this a part of maintaining desire? For each problem that you don't solve, it creates too much negative tension. Okay. It creates a lack of security, but in a bad way. Okay. If you do something to mess up, okay, it's catastrophic. You create a problem, like I don't know, you sleep with your secretary or something crazy, right? Um, you're supposed to be in a monogamous marriage, right? That you just created a massive problem. You might not be able to, people recover from that all the time, but you might not be able to, and it might take a long time. And so you don't want to create them, but you want to be able to solve them too. And that's where, handling argument, handling disagreement, handling conflict comes into play. The couple that can't handle conflict well will not survive, period. Okay. And so you have to pick a partner who's capable of that. If she is immature and arrogant and falls into bad argument behaviors all the time, and is somebody that's impossible to talk to when she's angry or upset about something, or even just disagrees, okay, her way of seeing the world is the only way, and everyone else is stupid. It just, and then she builds an alliances around her socially of friends who are cowards and won't challenge her on her bullshit. She lies to herself when some of her friends will slightly challenge her a little bit, that she's bringing herself around challenging friends. I'm naming a bunch of things that happened all the time. Okay. And it happened all the time with like a lot of your strong, independent women nowadays. It's what they do. They destroy their relationships. Don't be with that person. Okay. Don't be with that person. It'll never work. And then don't be that person yourself. That's the other part. You have to learn how to handle conflict and handle a woman in a conflict. Okay. And I have a number of stuff out for that for free. You can just look it up here. Okay. You got to know that, because every conflict that gets handled poorly puts a barrier between desire, you and her, and desire. Okay. Every conflict, all right, that can't get handled well, and you get some leeway for a while, but if that shit will build up after a while, and if it's the same problems, conflict after conflict, disagreement after disagreement, you won't have less disagreements, you'll have more disagreements in anticipation for conflicts that won't work out too well. All right. And you can't do it. You can't do it's going to fall apart. And so that will put a barrier between her desiring you and, or even just cause her to leave you anyway. Right. Because that's going to be too much negative tension. All right. And not enough comfort in that sense. And that'll cause her to be more sexually closed and less trusting of you. Even if she is the culprit, even if she's the one who's the toxic arguer, she will be a toxic arguer, blame you for it, and put the wedge up and devalue you in the process. Don't be in that circumstance. So that goes back to picking the chick that's capable, right? But don't be that person either. And the best thing to do to not be that person is to shut the F up. All right. You need to shut up. Guys, don't argue with women. Now, I don't mean placate to her and fall into her frame either. Use Luca. I've talked about Luca as an acronym. Listen, understand the words she's saying, the words she's not saying, and what her motivations are behind it and what is going on with her. It's empathy, essentially. So listen. And as you listen, understand and seek to understand. And then C is clarity. Seek clarity for yourself. Repeat back in your own words so that you can make sure you understand and she agrees with your understanding, but also get her to challenge things that are offsides. Okay. So, so when you say I always do that, what about last weekend? I don't think I was doing that. So is it always, or is it just a lot of times? Well, what do you mean by that? You see, that's a clarity question. Okay. So ask questions that get her to kind of open up and not be so, we'll say, toxic and draconian and extreme black and white binary thinking, and to actually open up. Follow to how to win an argument or whatever, but it's not about winning, but it's about handling an argument. 2-part series that talks about the phases of an argument and where, when you need to say, we're not having this discussion, and when you need to be like, okay, we're both mature now, adults today, and we can handle it. And so that's all part of holding the frame. If you don't do this properly, she's not going to trust your frame. Okay, so a lot of times I see it happen where things are going really well between a couple, between a guy and his girl or whatever, and then they get into some conflicts over things, and then she stops trusting his frame, and then everything else starts falling apart. You know what I mean? Even if the thing's supposedly resolved, because it got handled so poorly, it puts her in a place of distrust now. Okay, so you don't want to do that. And the A part of Luca, by the way, is action. You're not there to explain things. You're not there to dear. Now, if she wants an explanation or more of an understanding for herself, she may ask questions, of course, and you may answer the questions. You may make statements of fact that are directed towards the action plan, but do not get into lengthy explanations like I do on videos. So I'm helping you guys understand something, right? Don't do this to your girls and these things. Just listen and understand what she's saying. Let her know you understand, and then challenge some things. And then from there, just say, okay, well, here's what we're going to do then. And then it's an action plan. And that's you leading as an alpha male. Okay. And if she doesn't agree with your action plan, okay, well, tell me more. Why is that not okay? So I understand, and go right back into Luca. All right. And if it comes to an impasse, then you're going to have to tell her no, and you're going with your plan, and she's going to have to surrender to it. That's the way it goes, and she hopefully, picked you as the right partner so she can trust you. And if she can't, then maybe there's a bigger problem. Right. And so anyway, that's your stuff. Those are your 7 steps. Okay. Be attractive, your purpose outside of the relationship, bang her well. Okay. Have intimate time with her on a regular basis to connect, do cool crap together. Okay. Share cool experiences. Don't create problems, and then have good problem solving skills together. Those 7 things, she will not lose desire for you. Okay. You're dealing with a lengthy, long relationship with a lot less bumps in the road. Get on my email list. It's in the description. Okay. I'll do that announcement for an early sign up, and maybe, and we'll see how many I can take and cram into this pickup course. And this pickup course is the shit, guys. It's going to be epic. All right. People have been asking for it for a long time, and it's not going to be this massive cost. It's going to run, for about, run for about a month of Zoom calls. But the initial material is quite extensive. And we'll run a Discord chat or something, so we can keep in touch throughout the year and get you guys dialed in on your pickup stuff. So you want to be on my email list for that. Okay. Cheat proof your relationship too. That's coming out. All right. So it's a simple 1 click, and like the video, share it, support me. By the way, I got a bunch of you guys here listening to me. Go to my Instagram and just follow me. Go to my Twitter. Okay. If you don't have one, that's fine. But if you have one, do it. All right. It helps me get the word out, and I appreciate your help. All right. Thanks, guys. Enjoy your day. Till next time.